Kids, settle down. Settle down. You're going wild out here in Ohio. No sooner had I posted Kyleville than I'm getting more calls. Kyleville Township called me and said, "Well, how come you did a video about Amlin and not us?" And I did Kyleville, then I got a call from Jerome Township. They said, "Dude, we got the Glacier Ridge Metro Park right near here. How come you didn't talk about us?" I'm like, oh my goodness, they aren't coming. There's a reason that Ohio is as successful as it is, man. They're competitive as hell out here. So this is a video about Jerome, which was done by request after I did a bunch of videos on Kyleville and other communities in and around Columbus, Ohio. It's kind of been the theme today, last couple days. Well, here we go, Jerome. Guys, this is a parody video about Jerome. And Jerome, of course, I don't know if it's their main claim to fame or what, but Glacier Ridge Metro Park is right near there. And whew, you may need some parkland to relax after the competitive life out here. But of course I kid. It's a relaxing, wide open northeast part of Columbus, Ohio, northwest part, I should say. And people in the area generally know it as Dublin or even Powell, you know, but really that's for those video vloggers and bloggers and authors and writers that are not as good as me. Like, I get down into the nooks and crannies, into the communities, the peoples, and I give you the straight skinny. And especially when I get a call from Jerome, they're like, "Yeah, hey, come on, dude. Come on, man. Bring your video camera around here. Bring that stupid camera around here." So, guys, Jerome is just another part of the network of great communities out here. And let's go back. Let's go back to when it started, why it's there, why it's called Jerome, and the whole thing. All right, so Jerome was back in the 1800s. That's when it all began. It's really settled around 1850, incorporated around 1865, and it really started to grow, honestly, when Columbus started to expand northwest, which would be Dublin, Powell, and it's really when it started to grow like a weed. And now you got, what, 50, 60,000 people out there living. It's kind of a bedroom community, you could say, but nonetheless, it has a rich history, and that history has to do with an industry you might not typically associate with Jerome, right? And that is making circus tents. So when you look at the history of circuses, they really kind of had a boom in the late 1800s, early 1900s, through about through much of the 20th century. But they're on the downswing. There are some left, but back in the day, somebody had to make the circus tents, and that was all done in Jerome. And they had a saying at one of the biggest circus tent makers. It was, "Don't worry, you're not alone. You're in Jerome," right? Or, "Don't worry, you're home. You're in Jerome." And that was in the offices, be up on the wall, and that was to make their customers, all of the circuses, feel at home, like this is the one. You have met the top circus tent maker in the world, and we're gonna make that tent that's gonna put you over the top. And if you are at the top, you're going to stay at the top, because these are the best circus tents ever made right here in Jerome. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm listening to this story. This was sent to me by a resident of Jerome. So I don't know for sure if this is the facts, but let's take it as they are. But still, circus tents made out in Jerome, well, that's true. Guys, the original settlers of Jerome were seamstresses and tailors from the old country, from England, from Scotland, from Austria, all right, and Ireland even, and a couple of them from Spain. And they all knew each other from the industry, from going to the conventions, going to the associations, and they said, why don't we light out for America and start our own thing? And the leader of this group, was, that's right, Jerome T.B. Hunt. Jerome T.B. Hunt, probably the most dastardly, the most infamous guy in all of circus tent making in the last 200 years. Oh, sure, he had a good side. He was good at his job. He was good at the craft. He made the best circus tents you could ever want. But he was also a cheat. He was also a thief. He was also a man of many faces. Because before he became a circus tent maker, he led a life where he would remove items from people's homes that did not belong to him. Now, others called him a Robin Hood. The police called him suspect. But guys, that was back in the old country. When he came here to America, he decided to change his ways and not only to lead the best circus tent making community made of people from different walks of life, different countries, different backgrounds. He was going to lead them to the top of circus tent business, but he was also going to change his personal life and get rid of the demons that led him to a part-time life of crime. And guys, it was successful. He found the Lord and he founded the first church of Jerome. He even gave sermons on Sunday about turning a new leaf, about finding a thread in your life that is not tainted, that is a reflection of the good of in everybody's soul. It's there, and you just got to take that single thread and weave a new coat of existence that is good and true and right and just. And that's exactly what he did. And the weaving is an apt analogy because this was a man who was a master with a needle and thread. And hence the power he held over others in his industry who looked at him as number one, as the guy that started it all and was going to make them rich and successful in America. And guys, that's how Jerome grew and prospered. But as we've said many times, the wheel of time is never ending and constantly turning. It's a slow turn for sure, but turn it does. And eventually the circus tent business went down. As do all businesses eventually. Do you think that Facebook is going to be the leader of the pack in 2099? Well, you might be right about that, but it won't be long before it's somebody else. Maybe it's TikTok. Maybe it's a new competitor that we haven't heard of because the wheel of time keeps on turning, albeit slowly. It never stops. And guys, the circus tent business didn't do as well, and eventually Jerome got old, and the younger people didn't want to go into that business because here they were in America, where opportunity was unlimited, and they started a number of various businesses around the area, and the entire Columbus, Ohio area grew from the children and grandchildren of the people that came here and sowed the seeds of success in Central Ohio. And Jerome was at the center of the action in Northwest Ohio, guys. You can't write a book about the success of Dublin and Powell and other Hilliard and other communities that people know off the top of their head here in Central Ohio without including the story of Jerome. And just like we said earlier, in the offices of the circus tent company, they had slogans like, "Don't worry, you're home, you're in Jerome." Or, "You're not alone, you're in Jerome." That kind of concern and care for their fellow man and customers continues to this day, guys. And when you go to Jerome today, you feel what they felt back in those days. That feeling of brotherhood, of togetherness, of teamwork, of love of country and fellow man and woman. And I would say today, you could update that slogan and apply it to anybody that comes to Jerome or leaves. And that slogan is now, no matter where you roam, you've always got a home in Jerome. Guys, it's inspiring, and it's the latest in our series of community spotlights, and it truly is a Joe Ditzel parody. I love that one, guys. It's an inspiring story. Inspiring, did I say expiring? It could be expiring too. It's an inspiring story. Don't forget to come back. We got so many more tales about Ohio and other towns and America.